You all know who he is. You've all seen him from space. Famously known as the Bill Cosby of YouTube. Probably one of the worst people currently alive. Boogie2988.
Because I don't want to destroy somebody's life! Because I don't want to destroy somebody's life!
Is this what I have to do? You fat fucking fag!
I hate being alive! I hate being alive! I hate breathing! I hate being alive! That's my fucking temples! That's part of the abuse! No, my dad fucking masturbated in front of me!
One of the common things you'll see when Boogie goes on podcasts or does interviews is the come to Jesus saving Boogie advice section.
Don't you think you could, like, improve your life in some way? Like, you're totally defeatist about this. You could, like, I don't know, go to the gym.
The majority of weight loss has very little to do with exercise, mostly about controlling your diet. And any doctor will tell you that. And that's where, again, I don't think people understand my level of addiction.
In which some other YouTuber tries to tell him how to run a YouTube channel and make money. In some of these, the YouTuber will offer to do work for Boogie for free in order to help him out.
Literally, I will feed you videos and ideas to make content on to try to help your channel pick itself back up.
Hell yeah.
This obviously always fails. Boogie hits you with the stream of excuses that he's been using for his entire life. I'm fat, I'm in pain, I'm dying, I'm fat, I'm depressed, I'm fat. Back in 2018, when Boogie was telling everyone he was going to kill himself, he was in a group chat which contained some of the biggest YouTubers in the world, such as Keemstar, Max Mofo, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is in this chat. And these guys were all giving him advice, and I'm not talking shit like, keep up the grind and be... No! Like, full-on algorithm hacking. Do this and this to trick the YouTube algorithm shit. Kind of advice that mainstream organizations would probably pay millions of dollars for. Boogie got all of that for free, and his channel still sucks. Not only this, I heard Boogie also consulted Jesus Christ, the real one, and they went out and did medicinal hallucinogens in the woods, just like he did with Flaming Star, and that shit also failed. So this guy got help from Mr. Beast and Jesus Christ, and he's still a fuck up. So it falls to me to inform all of these YouTubers to fucking give up, okay? Your advice is worthless. Unless that advice is that fucking drowning feels like going home, you've wasted everybody's time. In June of this year, Boogie2988, famously known as the Samuel Little of YouTube, promoted a crypto scam for $10,000. His genius defense on this one was that it was a big joke, it was a big meme, but it was actually a real scam, so that's kind of like massively retarded, much like Boogie himself.
Remember, like, you're buying into a community that's there to make fun of me for losing my ass. That's the entire point of the community. You're supposed to, as a crypto bro, come in and maybe you throw me a bone because you know I have medical bills and shit to pay. But that's for millionaires.
You see, it was actually just for the billionaires. The Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musks, people famously known for throwing millions of dollars into a bottomless pit. After he promoted this scam, he tried to preemptively get ahead of the story by directly messaging CoffeeZilla and agreeing to do an interview with him. This is actually something Boogie's known to do. When he thought iDubbbz was going to make a content cop on him, he intercepted him at TwitchCon and started suicide baiting.
Boogie, it looks like you launched a crypto token that is a scam, a pump and dump. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I don't think it's a pump and dump. It is a meme coin.
It's literally from a thing called pump.fun. What are you talking about?
I never knew who pump.fun was until today.
Well, that's what you tweeted. That's what you tweeted. You said, oh, we're going to break.
I learned about it today, so I also tweeted about it today. Try to find a time I tweeted about it before today. You won't, because I just found out that I didn't know who this company is or these people I'm working with, other than they referred to me by Afro Man's manager.
Right, but you said before you posted the pump and dump, you said we're going to crush the internet, pump.fun. You didn't realize at that point you're doing a pump and dump, that you're getting paid by insiders to do this?
Well, not really.
Plays the fool, and then once that fails, just starts going, I'm dying. I'm literally dying. I can do whatever I want. He's been saying that for years. He's still not fucking dead. CoffeeZilla also brings up how Boogie previously lost money from crypto.
Don't you think it's kind of gross, given that you know firsthand, almost better than anyone, the damage that speculative investments can do? that you would then make money from a speculative investment like this?
The thing about that is he doesn't, because he didn't lose any money on crypto. He just claims he did. Basically, he just lost possible profit. He didn't actually lose any money he put in. This guy's been going broke for like 10 years. He's been on his last penny for 10 years, and he's still living in a fucking mansion. I guarantee you this guy is not going broke. When asked if he would return the 10K, Boogie responded by claiming the money had already been spent. However, when he said this, he was actually using a commonly known colloquialism known as blatantly lying.
Wait, that's on June 28th. That's on June 28th. You showed me a payment for $550 on June 28th, which is after we talked, after you told me the money was all gone.
Yes! Have you never heard of the colloquialism? Yeah, that money's all gone, it's all spent. I have a specific thing I need to do with it. Have you never heard that colloquialism? Use fucking Google then!
He didn't spend the money on medical bills. In fact, we don't know what he did with the money, full stop. But you see, Boogie needed that $10,000 to pay for his cancer treatment.
You are faking. No, don't move. You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
I begged you!
You crushed it!
I begged you! I begged you! I'm in tremendous pain! I'm in tremendous pain! Help me! Help me! Help me! How's it good that I can't afford the medication? How's it good? It's the medication that did it!
That's good. No,
he wants me to. He told me to, right?
No.
Oh, this is much better than eating a sandwich.
Right now.
Much better than eating a sandwich, Destiny.
Put that away right
You
now.
fucking piece of shit.
Boogie faked cancer. What more is there to say? It was like 20 streams. It was really overdone, if I'm honest. Everyone was there. Even I was there for 15 seconds before Keemstar kicked me off because he's scared of me, because I know his secret. He has no hair under that do-rag. Basically, he faked cancer, he got offered like $100,000 to prove it, refused, and then threatened to commit suicide. Look at that. Horizontal for attention. I've got this guy clocked. Cancer thing was a long time coming. In 2022, he made the video, I have a rare form of cancer. He made this video because he had been recently begging for money again and needed a quick and easy excuse. And having previously dried up the mental health, familial abuse, and morbid obesity wells, he invented a fake form of cancer with the intention of using this to justify any and all money grubbing he would inevitably engage in. It didn't take long, however, for people to start questioning this story for two major reasons. Reason one, Boogie is a lying piece of shit, not to be trusted on anything. And reason two, he had tweeted 6 weeks earlier that he had a clean bill of health. So it comes out that he doesn't have cancer. But the story here is very simple. You see, Boogie actually has 3 different doctors. Count 3 different doctors. The first doesn't speak any English, so Boogie doesn't even know what he's saying.
And this is very rude of me here. This doctor doesn't speak very good English. That's why I don't see him anymore.
I'll set the scene. I'll set the scene for you here, right? Boogie's done his test, and he goes to his doctor, and he says, so, what is it, doc? Sorry, what was that? Got you. I'm dying of cancer. I've got you. So then his second sleep doctor tells him that they are treating his polycythemia vera. His second sleep doctor may or may not be ChatGPT. He does not make it very clear. So he makes a video claiming he's been diagnosed with cancer.
I've known about this for a little over 6 weeks. That it was a probability, though I just got my official diagnosis.
Even though he hasn't, because the first doctor never said cancer.
Your doctor did not tell you had cancer?
My basal cell carcinoma got referred to as a carcinoma, right? They call it by the name of what it is. They don't break it down in layman's terms. My doctor never did. He just told me what he's treating me for.
He doesn't even know what the first doctor said, because the first doctor doesn't speak any fucking English. So he fires his first doctor and hires a new doctor who just tells him falsely to his face that he's dying of cancer. And he apparently does this for 2 years straight. And Boogie never once realized that despite not being treated for cancer and also not being present on his medical records, that he wasn't actually dying of cancer. He also claims that this form of cancer is not too big a deal and is easy mode cancer.
Because this cancer is kind of a joke cancer. And like I said in my video, it has a prognosis of 20 years.
Despite the fact that he told CoffeeZilla that he's literally dying of cancer.
I hope you get better. I hope you get better with your sickness. And
yeah, it's cancer, man. People don't generally get better.
And also claims that it is a debilitating illness.
If this is a 20-year cancer, so easy and whatever, and it's not a big deal, you know, you've got all this good prognosis, why did your brother say it was a debilitating condition?
Because it is. Because it
And
is
number
Google.
two,
Now, obviously, the real story is that Boogie needed a new excuse to grift money and sympathy, so he invented a fake cancer. That's the real story.
I've prayed a lot in this last week, and it's not been helping. But I think if I do some good works, it might.
What do you mean you pray to God? You're not religious.
Yeah, I told you a year ago. I found God again. Me and God talk every day.
Who are you talking to, Boogie? That is not God. I don't know who you're talking to, but that's not God, dude. I don't know what demon you're fucking communing with.
Wake up.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all.
The cancer thing is just the latest in a long line of Boogie lies. The main one is that his fucking abuse was fake. The story makes no sense, he contradicts himself every time he talks about it. When I confronted him on it for like the 15 seconds I was able to, he claimed that his brother can confirm it, which proves that it was real, but his brother also confirmed the cancer, so his word means nothing. In light of this, however, I have amended my previous theory. I previously theorized that Boogie was the only person in his family not abused, and that he was just faking it for attention. This was based on statements Boogie himself had made about his relationship to his mother. I have now realized error of my ways, and after discovering that his entire family are liars, I have concluded that there was actually no abuse whatsoever, and they're all pretending that it happened due to a genetic predisposition towards deceit. Now, there was a confrontation about Boogie's fake abuse on Lolcow, in which they brought up this screenshot compiling a good amount of Boogie's contradictory statements about his childhood abuse. Boogie's initial defense was the fact that no part of his story makes any sense actually proves that it was real.
And it's interesting because I've not been able to keep it up. I've constantly changed on this one. So I think it's...
So my question, I don't even care.
One new allegation that Boogie pulls out is that his mother actually made him fat and partook in pizza-based abuse.
When it comes to my mom, she wanted to make sure that I never left her. She wanted to make sure that I never was sexually attracted to other people. And that's one of the reasons she fed me wrong on purpose. We've talked about that before. She put the wrong foods into me and then forced me to eat them. You know, she would,
no, what I'm saying is like actually physically sat you down and force fed you. She just made you fatty foods. What do you mean?
No, she gaslighted me. She's like, everybody eats this way, Steve. This is how everybody eats, right? Everybody eats pizza. Everybody eats all this. You want to
even from start. So you're trying to say that one of the aspects of the abuse you suffered as a child was your mother gave you pizza?
So let me get this straight, Boogie. Your mother was sucking you off whilst buying you pizza, and you were also finger blasting your sister. I don't know, Boogie. To me, that sounds like heaven. It's very AIDS watching this, by the way, because they're very obviously talking about the time Boogie offhandedly claimed his sister raped him, and then as soon as he was called out on it, he threw his own brother under the bus and said that his brother had mind raped him into inventing a fake rape. But they all have to like vaguely refer to her as a third party. We all know who they're fucking talking about. But also at the same time, whilst they're pussyfooting around it, Boogie calls his sister and brings her on stream without her knowledge.
Hey, when was the last time I talked to you on the phone?
Dang, I don't know. I can't remember.
Now, when he's being called out on the fake rape inconsistency, he claims that his sister mind raped him into saying his brother mind raped him into thinking his sister raped him, which she actually did. To totally sum up the whole thing, basically every time he's ever lied about his abuse or has some contradictory aspect to it, his brother and his sister actually said that, and every time there isn't 4 billion holes to poke in it, that was actually his memory. So technically, he's not lying. Also, you're not allowed to talk about or question any stories involving his siblings, people who are still alive and therefore can defend themselves, and you can only discuss the stories regarding his parents, who are both dead and therefore cannot defend themselves. Also, despite having received brutal, horrific, violent, physical abuse every day for 10 years straight, he does not possess any scars of these events.
At home, then things would get
Do you have scars from the burns?
I feel like this third party...
I don't really think so. No.
All the burns happen on your stomach?
I think so.
including the scar he directly stated he had when he previously talked about his abuse.
I still have the scar where she split my skull right at the hairline.
Boogie2988, formerly known as the Gary Leon Ridgway of YouTube, unsurprisingly has an abject refusal to take accountability for anything that happens in his life. Literally every single issue he has is self-imposed, but he invents a complex network of totally unconnected random occurrences tied together with vague psychology terms. He's going broke because he spends so much money on food because of a food addiction that he gained because his mother fed him too many pizzas as a child. Notice how he bears absolutely zero responsibility for his own life. How about this? He can't get a job, not because he's lazy and won't work, but rather because he's disabled. Why is he disabled? Not because he's 7,000 pounds and eats too much, but actually because he got hit by a car when he was 25. Wow. Incredible. There's literally nothing he can do to change his circumstances, except he didn't get hit by a car, his brother got hit by a car, he just stole the story and applied it to himself. Last time I discussed the Frank Hassel confrontation. Frank Hassel traveled to Boogie's house to confront him face to face. Boogie comes out with a gun, it's all very embarrassing. But recently, secret Discord messages were released by Nicholas Diorio, showing that Boogie's first instinct when realizing that Frank was coming to his house was not to call the police or protect his roommate from who he believes to be a violent madman. No, his first instinct was to try and guilt trip YouTubers and make himself a martyr. I'm gonna be real, you're scaring me, man. It might be that this is one of our first real conversations we've had or something, but I hope you call a friend or something who lives close to you who can help / keep you company so you don't have to deal with the Frank stuff alone. I promise, if he has cameras rolling when he shows up, I will consider shooting myself instead of him.
Oh, we were right there, man!
Twitter isn't killing me! Kiwi Farms is! They're doing a real fucking shit job. I'm on your side that this is harassment, and he shouldn't come to your house. I don't think your Frank needs to die. It's true, neither of them needs to die, but I think one of them should die. Now you might be thinking, wow, Big Bungie, that's a bit near the knuckle. You're making a lot of jokes about this man killing himself. Let me tell you something. Firstly, they're not jokes. Secondly, he's not going to kill himself. In fact, I'm so confident Boogie won't kill himself that if he does, I will also kill myself in retaliation. And it has to be a real suicide. No, oh, he ate himself to death. He's been doing it for 50 years. It's the shittest suicide attempt ever. If you really wanted to eat yourself to death, you could knock it out in like a few days easily. He's just lazy. No, it has to be a real suicide. Jumping off a bridge, tying cinder blocks to your feet, and sinking into the ocean, or ripping your own head off. None of this, oh, I'm eating myself to death like a pussy. You have to slash your wrists and then bleed out on the concrete like a real man. And even if he does, good, honestly. It's a win-win. He could put me in his suicide note and I'd be like, good, you know, I take full credit. I'm going to heaven for this. Boogie also falsely accused Frank of pedophilia. When asked for proof he apparently had of this, by pure coincidence, he lost it. It just vanished. But it was 100% there. You might question how a creature like Boogie managed to be previously married in order to get divorced. This is similar to asking how Jeffrey Epstein got those children. The women who Boogie doesn't pay for tend to be highly psychologically deranged, and as such, incredibly susceptible to his fake nice guy routine.
I can't fight with him. I just have to stand by him, even though it may not make sense. It is what it is.
It's not the Dennis system, it's the Mac system.
Oh, that's my system, the Mac. Move in after completion. I wait till you're done with him, and then I swoop in, give him a shoulder to cry on, and then we hump.
Boogie will hunt for women at their lowest points, attach himself to them, and then become a dependent. Depressed women who have just suffered a familial loss or who have abandonment issues will be more affected by Boogie's 24/7 suicide bulletin than functional people. To give you an example of this, he met his first wife, quickly attaching himself to her like a parasite. She then became Boogie's gay little faggot slave, dedicating her entire existence to taking care of him and his fragile emotional state, which fluctuated fluctuates between extreme hunger and fake suicidal intention. The only reason she managed to escape this fate was due to his gastric bypass surgery, making it seem as if he could live on his own. It's also entirely possible that her family essentially told her to divorce Boogie, as around about the time of the surgery, she apparently left him on his own after a fight to go see her family. Which means she could have told her family about their relationship, and they just sort of pushed her to divorce him. Regardless, he did force her to sign an NDA.
I'm gonna be. There's only so much I'm allowed to say because in my mediation there's like a non-disparage clause which I asked for that she didn't ask for. I asked for it, but
so we'll never know. After this, he spent somewhere in the ballpark of $200,000 on prostitutes whom he met through Seeking, a sugar daddy dating app. One of these girls was Lucy Fox. Initially, Boogie desperately tried to convince people that Lucy Fox was naturally attracted to a fat, ugly, lazy, covetous nurgling living in filth. After the relationship ended, Lucy Fox came out and made some allegations against Boogie, mainly things like threatening suicide if she tried to leave the house and go home. Classic Boogie shit.
It would turn into an argument every time I tried to leave. Why are you trying to leave me? You know I need somebody right now. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and I was pretty much taking care of him every day.
No evidence of this was ever released, and Boogie spun a narrative that she was a liar. However, the man claiming this has also tried to suicide bait his own audience and other YouTubers for pity, as well as previously claimed that the FBI told him to make an exposed video on Reddit. So who are you going to trust on this one? The most recent girl Boogie has captured is Desi, the 20-year-old mentalist with abandonment issues. Now, the time frame in which he met Desi is a little difficult to explain, mainly because he keeps fucking changing it. Initially, he claims he first started talking to her in October 2022, before she then moved in with him in July 2023. But he also claims that she was in the room with him when he got his fake cancer diagnosis.
I was in the fucking room. My girlfriend was in the fucking room when they told me.
Which should have happened around October 2022. That means she came down to visit him in the same week they started talking, and not only for dates or whatever, but also to go to his doctor's appointment and, like, hold his hand through the process. As well as this, Keemstar and Brantley both claimed that Boogie had privately bragged to them about Desi being an 18-year-old virgin. Now, her being a virgin is basically like 100% confirmed.
Boogie, did you take that girl's virginity?
I mean, that's not for me.
He did. He did. We figured that out on the show.
That's we guys continue to think that. And
no, Boogie, you said that on the show. Boogie, you said that on the show.
I don't kiss and tell. I will never confirm
you
that. That's
said
absolutely 100% something.
One in the chat if he said this.
So basically, he's either the first person she's had consensual sex with, or like the third person she's had unconsensual sex with. Either way, it's terrible. She also appears to be wasting away. She is noticeably skinnier now, and Boogie has mentioned that she is eating less. Whether this is because Boogie is eating more is as yet unknown. I think it's very clear to anyone with a brain that Boogie doesn't actually give a shit about this girl and only uses her for his own sick pleasure. In an interview with Caleb Hammer, which is another of the before-mentioned Saving Boogie segments, Boogie is given a large amount of advice on how to handle his finance in order to be less broke, and Boogie responds with the same old classics. I'm gay, I'm fat, I'm gay, I'm fat, I'm gay.
I think a lot of people have this idea, and I get that the documentary definitely painted this picture, right? I think a lot of people don't understand what I'm willing to do to survive this, right?
Are you willing to stop eating $900 in McDonald's and Starbucks a month?
Oh! In a final-ditch effort to engage Boogie with the program, he has asked, Boogie, you're gay, you're fat, you're dying from being gay and fat. Surely you want to leave Desi, the woman who you allegedly love, with, like, literally anything after you die. And Boogie responds,
what do we do when you're no longer here and you've left nothing to a widow?
Well, my process has always been, when I met her, without getting into her personal severe social anxiety, she was struggling with just getting her life. Who I was when I was her age. When I was 20 years old, just like her, played EverQuest and World of Warcraft and built terrible websites. I was talking to my friend Michael, kid behind the camera, and his plan was just be the person you needed when you were in that position.
What does this have to do with you leaving her or anything?
If I left her destitute,
yeah,
my plan is to still leave her better off than she was.
What is that, a threat? More of everything? More debt? More sadness? More rapes?
Because she's not in it for the money. Right? She's in it for the life experience. She's in it for the love. She's in it for the companionship. She's in it to become a better and stronger person.
She's in it for the life experience. I bet you say that about all the children you rape. In my last video, I was very harsh. I believe unfairly. to a man called Flaming Star. Flaming Star has since passed away, and I want to offer a genuine apology. After he did DMT with Boogie in the forests, he showed up to Boogie's house, robbed him, and vandalized the property. In my mind, this makes Flaming Star a hero, so I just want to give a quick tribute to this heroic man. Now, you may at this point be thinking, wow, this guy is like literally the worst human in existence. Why does he still have any kind of notable public presence? There are people nowhere near as bad, like Jaden or Def Noodles, who faded into total irrelevancy over their comparatively lesser controversies. The answer is Keemstar. I have been very open with my dislike for Keemstar, mainly because he's a massive faggot. It's pretty obvious that despite how much he virtue signals, Keemstar clearly has like absolutely zero morals whatsoever. I mean, he's publicly stated multiple times that the worst thing you can do as an online figure is scam your fans. I mean, come on. So Keem is like actually paying the living wage of someone who he considers to be the most immoral piece of shit on the planet. So what's the punishment for a guy who faked a cancer diagnosis for the sake of stealing money from whatever fan base he has left? Accidentally, of course. We're not going to fire him, and we'll keep paying his wages. Probably up them, actually, because he's been bringing a lot of eyes to the show. Not that I necessarily think firing him is a good punishment. I propose the femur breaker, or the rack. But the punishment Keem settles on is to have liar tattooed on his face, which they obviously didn't do. I mean, you can't even hear the tattoo machine in the fucking stream. And it also seems to have dissolved over a few weeks, presumably due to Boogie's weekly shower. It's so fucking obvious that they just wrote this on his face with a fucking marker pen. The fakery of lolcow annoys me, because they're basically just paying like a borderline criminal to do mundane shit that isn't even real. Like an actual children's program, but the host is an urban horror story. You might be thinking, well, Big Bungie, if you're so smart, what would you propose as the punishment for Boogie? Well, it's simple. We, rape Boogie2988. None of this, oh, we're gonna get guys in to shoot paintballs at him. No, we're gonna bring in guys to rape him. He claims he's got experience, so it shouldn't be that bad. That's what Keemstar would do if he wasn't a fake and a fraud. If Keemstar wasn't a phony, he would have seen that Woman Sleeps with 100 Men documentary, and he would have made 100 men, parentheses, black, rape Boogie2988. He's always saying he'd rather be raped again than put up with the harassment. Well, it's time to put your mouth where the cocks are, son. We're raping you. Obviously, I do not like Boogie. I hate the fat fucker. And as someone who's done a fair amount of research into his background and visited various threads on him, like from sites like Kiwi Farms and 4chan, I take issue with his label of lolcow. Boogie is not a lolcow. A lolcow is someone who is documented by the internet because they are funny. People are amused by the continued spiral of people like iDubbbz. That's the lol in lolcow. Nobody is amused by Boogie. People do not archive his posts and actions because they like him. They do it because they hate him and want him to die. And that includes me. The thing about Boogie is that he's at like the lowest point he can go, and nobody cares. They did a whole stream where they were confronting him on his abuse claims, and it didn't even hit Twitter. Like, nobody even gave a shit. Boogie could be full-on grooming a child. He'd be on stream screaming, "I'm not a pedophile! I'm not a pedophile! I'm not a pedophile!" And then next week, he's back on lolcow Live, and Keemstar would be like, "As punishment for having sex with children, we will be tattooing pedo across your balls." It feels empty and worthless. And the reason why is because we're all waiting for the finale. And the finale, in Boogie's case, is him dying. We're all waiting for him to die. The biggest mistake Boogie ever made in his life was not faking cancer, was not faking abuse, was not fucking up his marriage. No. His biggest mistake was not killing himself in 2018. He had it all planned out, and then he didn't do it because his dogs would be alone with his body for a few days. Like, come on, guy. You could have gone out and done it on the fucking street. The wonderful thing about killing yourself is you can do it anywhere, anytime. The longer he goes without dying, the less anyone's gonna care. If he did it in 2018, yeah, he had a little drama. Not as much as he does now. He would have made his goodbyes at VidCon, then he kills himself, and everyone goes, wow, it's a tragedy, which is what you want. You want your suicide to be a tragedy. If he kills himself now, everyone's gonna be tapping their fucking watches and go, wow, about fucking time. This is the problem with these guys. Keemstar does it too. They don't know when to fucking bow out, these fuckers. Right? When you leave the stage, you want the audience to chant, one more song. One more song. Boogie and Keem are up on the stage, and the audience is going, fucking leave! No more songs! No more songs. If Boogie's watching this, you've got to face reality. When your story started, you had two endings. You lose the weight, you have kids, and then go, thank you everybody, you've really helped me out. I'm grateful for all the support. It's a beautiful story of overcoming hardships. You fucked that one. Okay, the kids are dead. Let's give up on these delusions. There's no redemption coming. There is no hope for you. Realistically, you know what your ending is now? It's a fucking empty funeral. That's what it is. So my final word to you, Boogie, you should kill yourself. Sooner rather than later. Look, time is of the essence here.